I'm Jason Hart with Mossy Oak. Welcome to Turkey Academy. Today we're going to talk about turkey shotguns. When I first started turkey hunting, the most popular gauges were by far the 12 gauge. And when I started, the 12 gauge 3.5 inch or the Super Magnum 12 gauges were all the rage. And at that time, 10 gauges were still very popular. Over the years, smaller gauges, such as 20 gauges, now even 28 gauges and 410s are surging in popularity, really based on the advances in ammunition. I've hunted every turkey subspecies with every American gauge. That's 410, 28 gauge, 20 gauge, 16 gauge, 12 gauge, and 10 gauge. They can all be extremely effective on turkeys, but a 410 bore, as we call it, is a lot more comfortable to shoot than a big heavy kicking 10 gauge. So depending on, number one, your physical build, number two, how much you like or dislike recoil, and number three, really what your effective range that you want to harvest a turkey is, depends on the gauge. One thing with the advent of heavier than lead shells, such as TSS, the playing field has somewhat been leveled. 410s, 28 gauges, 20 gauges are a lot more popular and effective than they were 20 years ago when shooting traditional lead. But every gauge has its place in the turkey woods, and honestly, you can hunt turkeys with every single one. It just depends on which you prefer. In discussing turkey guns, there's a lot of different options out there. And if you are a novice to the sport/art of turkey hunting, it may be confusing as what type of turkey gun you need. There is no perfect turkey gun, but it's all about personal preference. We've got a lot of different versions of shotguns out there that are available. Pump action shotguns, semi-automatic shotguns, single shot shotguns, double barrel open action shotguns, and even there are some bolt action shotguns on the market. Depending on your age, your preference, and if you want a follow-up shot, or even safety, depends on what you should choose. As far as recoil is concerned, if you are bothered by recoil, your semi-automatics tend to favor what you're looking for. Either an inertia or gas-driven semi-automatic shotgun is typically easier on the shoulder than, say, a pump-action shotgun, and much easier, say, on a single-action shotgun based on the amount of recoil. So the amount of recoil that you want is something to take into consideration. The next thing to consider is what type of shotgun shell do you need to buy, do you need to use, and how do you pick a choke tube for that gun? A lot of things to consider. Number one, every single gun likes a different choke tube, likes a different shotgun shell configuration. There's a lot of different shot to look at. Number one is traditional turkey hunters begin shooting lead. That still works great. Then, as advances happen, some bismuth type shot hit the market, and then heavy shot. Now, we have tungsten shot, also known as TSS, has become the rage of the turkey world and in turkey hunting. Tungsten super shot is the heaviest density shot material that we can commercially purchase at the moment, which means more shot going down range that still maintains trajectory, maintains better penetration, and in many times more killing power depending on the distance. What TSS does is it makes every turkey gun better, and in my opinion, creates a more effective turkey gun downrange, which in my opinion is more ethical. So now, you've picked your gauge, you've picked your action, you've picked your shot type and your shotgun shell. So now, what's next? You have to think about a choke tube that you want to shoot. Every different brand or style of shotgun may like a different constriction based on how the barrel's built. So a lot of information out there, but ultimately you want to match up your shell and you want to match up your gun to the right choke tube. One thing to keep in consideration is a tighter constriction choke tube typically will have better patterns at long ranges. Let's say you're hunting in an area on a field, or hunting out west, or hunting in a prairie area where you may have a long shot. A tighter choke tube may be better. If you're hunting in thick, dense woods where a turkey can come very close, you want to have a more open choke tube, say even a modified type choke tube where your pattern is bigger, and also an inexperienced turkey hunter or somebody like myself that gets very nervous when the turkey's coming up, a more open choke tube gives you a little more wiggle room. A lot of turkeys get missed at long ranges, but also keep in consideration a lot of turkeys get missed at short ranges as well.